Hi, we're Chris and Lindsay from Behind the Box, and today we're going to be discussing Crystal Clans by Plaid Hat Games. A big thank you to Zatu Games for sending this to us to review. So obviously we haven't paid for the game, but that won't impact the quality of our review.
So Crystal Clans is a strategic card game for 2 players where you'll both be taking on a unique deck of your own clan to try and be the first person to collect 4 crystals. So you'll do this by summoning units to the battlefield, activating them and moving them around, trying to control certain zones, and ultimately fighting your opponent to try and defeat them in battle so that you can be the first person to gain these crystals.
So I'll start off by just being honest with you. I have never been really good at card games. Magic the Gathering, Netrunner, even Lord of the Rings, I don't do really well with those. There's just too much information on the cards for me to take in and make decisions on. I get terrible analysis paralysis, and games that should only be 30 minutes end up being like 2 hours long when I'm in them. So yeah, we tried a few times over a few different days to play this game together, and honestly never even got through a game because of me.
Now, on the flip side of that, once I realised Lindsay was not going to be the person for me to play this with, I invited some friends round, and we had a great time. So, I love card games. I grew up playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, even Netrunner, and I love playing Lord of the Rings. So this was awesome for me. I had such a good time playing this game. Now, the base box comes with 6 unique clans, which I mentioned in the little overview. They are very, very unique, and all of them play in such different ways. It's kind of mind-blowing how cool each of them are and how thematic they all are. So, just give you a few examples. You've got the Blood Clan. Now, they can kind of ignore one of the rules of the game, which is that any squad you summon can have at maximum 3 units in it. They have a special ability called Horde, where most of their people can then be in 1 or 2 squads that are huge. And so they wind up with this kind of little Roomba of monstrous people just scattered about the board, just effectively just sucking up and killing all of your people. And then you've got the Skull Clan. They kind of can't die. A lot of them are undead and can be reanimated, and they can again be reanimated across the board if you've got people like your necromancers. That's a really cool way of controlling the battlefield. As well, another one that was really cool was the Stone Clan. So they have workers and people that can build buildings. Their ability is building structures out in the area. So their workers can activate and move around really cheaply. It's very easy to move them around the board. And then the special characters, the heroes, and the structures are much more expensive. So you can move your workers out to like the middle or close to the enemy's base, summon these really powerful structures, and then just start destroying everything. It's a really cool and feels very unique, very, very different. And each of these decks has their own hero character cards. Everyone's got 3 very unique heroes, all really powerful. But the flip side of that is that they also are very expensive to put out onto the field, very expensive to activate, but they can really change the tides of a battle.
So what he means by expensive is he's referring to this interesting initiative tracker. Now, when I first saw it when we were opening up the board, I thought, oh, that's really cool, because you could, essentially how it works is there's a crystal in the center of this tracker. And when you take your turn and take your actions, make your moves, you're pushing this crystal further into your opponent's side of the tracker, which is basically allowing them more things that they can do on their turn. And then they do the same back to you. Now, I got really generous, and I kept pushing it all the way over to like 9 on his tracker. But then he was very smart and only put it back to like 2 on mine, which to me in the game, it felt like bullying. Obviously, I know that it's the smart thing to do to like starve your opponent of actions.
That's kind of the strategy, yeah. You want to starve people because everything you do in this game costs initiative. So if you want to summon a squad of units, if all 3 of them cost 3 initiative, you are basically pushing that tracker 9 towards your opponent. And if it's already at 0, that puts them at 9. And you've only done one action. So then when it comes to my turn, I might summon one unit, activate another, activate a second unit, start a battle, then maybe buy a crystal. I get all of these options because you gave me so much.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I was able to just end it on like 2 for Lindsay, or even against my friends. A lot of our games, because they are more familiar with card games and they're more willing to be mean, because they will make you mean to do this. They are much more familiar with that. And so they got that strategy, they understood it, and they knew, okay, I can use it against you. And a lot of our games, especially as we got a bit more comfortable with it with my friends, it was kind of, I'm on 3 initiative, okay, you're now on 3 initiative. And it was these sort of 1 to 2 actions. I think that's what really separates the better people from newer players or just worse players. I think this is a game where the best player will always win.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's about optimizing every single action you take. So planning out your squads and your units on the battlefield so that you can afford to potentially give them more initiative on a turn, or take a crystal and put yourself kind of at a disadvantage. It's all about optimization, even in the battles themselves. So every time you do a fight, you have to play a battle card from your hand, and they have a rock, paper, scissors mechanic to them in the battle, which is really cool.
I really liked the rock, paper, scissors mechanic. Again, that was one of the things that I noticed first when we were learning about the cards and first learning the rules of the game. You learn that your card is divided into 2 parts, and the top part is basically all the information about your character. And then this bottom part is just specifically used for when you're battling with that card. It's divided into 2 parts, that bottom part, and the left side is, backing up. So you're going to have an aspect that's unique to, that's assigned to your character. So say, for instance, you're like this fox tail, and then you're going to battle against another person's card. Now, they might also be a foxtail, or they could be a bull's head, or they could be a turtle shell. Now, odds are, on the left side, this isn't going to happen. But it's a great thing that could happen if it does pan out. On the right side of your card is more likely to occur. And it will be a similar outcome, but maybe not as good, or it might have some kind of cost to it. So you should always be thinking, when you're doing these battles, thinking about that right effect, the one that's more likely to happen. You can't always rely on that left side.
Yeah, again, that's kind of that strategy. Now, when we first started playing this and I was learning it, I wasn't a big fan of the rock, paper, scissors. I thought it's fun. It seems like a cool idea, but it's too lucky. It's too much about luck. You quickly start to realize that it's only about luck if you are playing poorly. If you need every time to be hitting that left side to stand any sort of chance, then you're putting yourself in a bad situation. As I mentioned before, it comes down to the efficiency and making every turn count and using it to the best possible use. So you've got to be okay with the right side going off and not always relying on the left side. If it goes off, then that's nice, but always having that contingency and putting yourself in situations to be able to mitigate what could be seen as bad luck. So that's Crystal Clans. It really impressed me. I had a lot of fun. All of my friends that I played it with really enjoyed it. In the rulebook, it does say that there are going to be more expansions coming out with options in future expansions to actually make custom clans. As it is right now, you have to play the clans as they are, but there are 6 of them, and they are, like I said, really unique. Very, very cool. If you are interested in card games at all, if you ever played things like Magic or Netrunner, even Summoner Wars, I've not played Summoner Wars, but that's supposed to be a similar style of game. Check this one out. I will leave links in the description down below to the Zatu Games website. It's currently available for sale. Check it out. I'll leave the Board Game Geek link as well. So yeah, check everything out, and yeah, thank you very much for watching. Thank you again to Zatu for sending us this copy of the game. I had a blast with it. Lindsay, not so much. But yeah, until the next game, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye. Hi, we're Chris and Lindsay from Behind the Box, and today we're going to be sharing with you And today we're going to be discussing